Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Waj'al li waziran min ahli Haruna akhi ushdud bihi asri washriku fi amri كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Welcome, dear friends. Inshallah, we will continue with our discussion on divine power from the 15th ray, second station, page 631 in the book, discussing the mysteries of divine power. We are at the 8th step of this mysteries. Last time we discussed about how in material sciences, mainstream sciences, they call it the knot of life or naturalism or natural way of things coming into existence, the way, for example, the author gave the example of the roots of the tree and how interconnected, how the roots are underneath the soil in a very complex fashion, and how the sustenance travels over to the branches and the fruits of the tree. And science calls it something, they say, oh, it's naturally happening, or they gave it some other label. But we see that that is nothing but the divine will. That is our conclusion by observing what we see and investigating the universe to see if anything in the universe has any qualities to arrange and facilitate all those things that are happening. So we'll continue with the next step of, which is a little kind of worded. I couldn't really grasp it as much as I thought, but I think it may be simplified a little bit as we go through it together. So through the mystery of the surroundings and wholes. So surroundings and wholes, inevitably being in the grasp of the creator of the things which are surrounded and the parts, like the miniature inscribed beings similar to them. So they're miniature inscribed beings that are surrounded by universal things. So, or milked extracted droplets. For they and their likes are included in the former, with the balance of his knowledge, or are milked from them in accordance with the principles of his wisdom. So beings which are milked, extracted droplets, for they are likes and are included in the whole, in the wholes and the surroundings, in the universals. And everything is included with the balance of his knowledge, or are milked from them, so extracted, squeezed from those whole things, like squeezed to a juice, for example, for them in accordance with the principles of his wisdom. So let's see what the author, how he breaks down this phrase, which was actually in Arabic, he says. So that is the relation to the large universals, which encompass them of the particulars, which are encompassed. So the particulars are encompassed by the large universals, and of individuals. And now he gives example like seeds and grains. Seeds and grains which are within universals and wholes. is as tiny miniatures and as the identical samples of the universal and wholes. So the seeds and grains, which are tiny miniatures, are identical samples of the universals and wholes. So whatever they develop into, the universals, how big they grow, for example, the seeds grows into a tree, grains as well. So they're identical samples of the universals and the whole thing. So inscribed in miniature in the very finest writing. So for example, nowadays we'll say that in the DNA of the seed is the whole picture of what the tree is going to be from that seed. That's how science now describes, according to the DNA, this person's future. Like we will go through this and this stage, these diseases would come. And from the DNA, many things can be detected. So from the particular or miniature sample, the whole universal can be grasped. Now, whoever has fitted everything, which is like from the universal to the whatever the seed, which is milked or squeezed into, the DNA is kind of like a squeezed thing for the whole picture of the whatever the entity or the being that is being looked at. So whoever has the grasp of the creator of the particulars and completely under his disposal, so that through the balance of his knowledge and its fine pens, he can include that huge, all-encompassing book in hundreds of minuscule sections and notebooks. So the whole book in hundreds of minuscule sections and notebooks is under his grasp, whoever owns the particle, the particular, and the whole. The relation and comparison then of the encompassed parts and particulars with their surroundings is as droplets milked. So the relation and comparison then of the encompassed parts and particulars with their surroundings is as droplets milked from what encompasses them, like milk, or as if someone squeezed the surroundings and those points dripped from them. This is a whole mouthful of words. So let's see with the example. For example, a melon seed is a droplet. So a melon seed is a droplet milked from all its surroundings, or a point in which is written the whole book. So a droplet milked from all its surroundings, or a point in which is written the whole book. That's what a melon seed is. For it contains, the seed contains its index of the whole book and program. So index, that and list and program. Since it is thus, the encompassing wholes and universals must be within the hand of the maker of those particulars, droplets, and points, so that he can milk the individuals, droplets, and points from them with the sensitive principles of his wisdom. sensitive principles of his wisdom. This means that the one who creates the seed and individual must be the one who creates the whole and the universals. So this is the point, actually. The one who creates the seed with the index, with the whole program to develop into a whole, must be the one who creates the whole and the universal. So everything is in the grasp, every stage of the seed and of the whole being, everything is in the grasp of the one who owns realm of that, or who holds the reins of that thing. And the other universals and sorts, which encompass the latter and are bigger than them. So the one who creates the seed and individual must be the one who creates the whole and the universals, and the other universals and sorts, which encompass the latter and are bigger than them. It could be anyone, it could not be anyone else. It cannot be the things themselves, could not be anything else within this universe. In which case, the one who creates a single soul, the one who creates a single soul can only be he who creates all mankind. And the one who raises to life one dead person can raise to life all jinn and men at the resurrection of the dead, and will raise them to life. So see what is claimed and stated by the verse. Your creation and your resurrection is but a single soul. Okay. Which is from the Quran, section 31, verse 28, is most definitely and brilliantly pure truth and reality. And Brother Ali has put a comment, milked means that it is strained, extracted, or squeezed. So Brother Ali, would you like to share some thoughts on what this author is sharing?
This is clear, Asik. This milked, I'm not a native speaker, so I don't know really when you say it's milked, do you really understand that extracted? Or
yeah, that means extracted.
Is it a normal usage?
Yes.
Oh, all right. I didn't know that. I didn't know. So we can, as you mentioned, just making this discussion into an interaction, and also supporting each other and making it clearer. So, as you mentioned, DNA, whoever has given existence to the particle in the body of the DNA must be the one who is the creator of the DNA. Whoever has created or given existence to DNA, I mean, go back to the preceding one, particle in the body of DNA must be the creator of the body itself. It means or whatever this cell DNA is in my cell, for example, whoever created and has given existence to my particles must be the creator of all the components of every part of my body. And whoever has given existence to the particle in my body must be the creator of the whole human beings, whole living beings, and they exist within the universe. They are in complete connection, interaction with the rest of the universe. Therefore, is the creator of the universe. Sometimes they say there's a particle or atom is forming something by itself. They say, do you think the particle, of course, the counter argument is, do you think a particle is the creator of the universe? No, I didn't claim that. And also some certain religious tradition says, Jesus is a kind of God. Do you think he is the creator of the universe? Oh, no, I didn't claim that. So if he has some sort of divine quality, then divine quality by definition must be absolute in order to give existence to something which did not exist before it was given existence. So if it is not, if it is not the creator of the universe, so he cannot have any divine qualities. So simple. So if a particle cannot have the potential to create the whole universe, so itself cannot be a creator, cannot be any quality or power to create something else. So create means bring something into existence with as a result of will only, not being needy of any tools, any means, and other things. So we have to understand the sequences of this cause and effect, seeming cause and effect relationship is not the result of God needed water, the creator of the tree needed water, soil, climate, etc. That is why the tree can, in our observation, only come into existence within a certain environment. And materials must be there. Otherwise, we cannot explain it. So very simplistic mind of the materialist view or reasoning of the materialist view says, if there was no sun, there would be no life. Therefore, look at this very smart logic. Therefore, sun is the creator of life. Wow, what a logic. If I say, if there was no this key on my computer, there would be no program appearing on my screen. Therefore, the key is the creator, maker of the program, the key in my keyboard, maker of. Now, why don't you look at the quality of the key? Let's say the key for, let's say, delete. Does it have the quality to create something? Or it is an illusion that when I click on the key delete, no, it deletes without, it deletes the things what I have chosen before. But it is not. That is how the program, how the system has been established. This trick is or has been influencing the whole human body, human reason, no, human population for centuries. This is a very simple trick, but people buy it. I don't know, some people, of course, but these people are majority. I mean, we are created with intelligence. Use your intelligence. Use your intelligence. If there was no delete key, so the deletion wouldn't exist, or there would be no functioning of deleting something in the program. So delete is the maker of the program. This part, no. That is why this sentence, as you said, is very important. You can highlight it. The one who creates a single soul in the next page, the one who creates the single soul. Yeah, you are very close up there. Up a little bit. One more. Yeah. The one who creates a single soul can only be he who creates all mankind, or the one creates the whole must be the one, the one who creates the seed must be the one who creates the whole universe. Why? Because the seed is given existence within the context of the whole universe. It's a web. You cannot really separate from each other. So it is a web. The universe is created in a web form. You cannot separate it, and impossible. So we have to say, yes, if there was no DNA, human body wouldn't exist. We have to look. We have to look. Is DNA, has DNA have any quality to choose, to decide, to give existence to something, to know the future, arrange itself accordingly, like the plan of a building drawn by an architect. So we can see the plan, and the plan shows that there will be a window in this place, wherever it should be. It doesn't mean that because plan said window must be there, and therefore plan is the reason of existence of the window in the wall as it is drawn in the plan. Plan is knowledge, but it needs to be put into practice. DNA shows that the creator of DNA has knowledge, what he is going to do, what he has created, what he will create. Demonstrates it that before the things are created, the plan of the DNA shows that it is creator knows what he is going to do and lets you know that he knows it. And he will create what? That's why they make nowadays DNA analysis, and all the codes are more or less deciphered now. Okay, learned what is in the plan. Now they say, oh, your child, they do this analysis to the mother. They say, your child is going to be, for example, born with some deficiencies. Would you like to keep it or not? For example, one of my friends had a scan in in her pregnancy, then the people said, the doctors said, your child has a hole in his heart, so it will be very problematic to look after, to take care of. So they gave the mother the option whether she will keep it or the abortion will be applied. She said, yes, I will keep it. And they had some difficulties, of course, but alhamdulillah, the child is now playing, happy. And they were very happy too. Some difficulties in first 2 years. And then, thank God, the Creator. But the point is this, what I'm trying to say. Knowing the program doesn't guarantee that. Knowing that if I click on the key delete, I know that my previous action on the computer will be deleted. I know it. And my knowledge that if I do this, delete, click on the delete, doesn't necessitate that the keyboard or my knowledge doesn't necessitate it to be created, because neither I nor the delete key has any quality to create it. So we have to look always what is claimed to be within the universe and examine it if there are qualities in itself inherent, original, which is in Arabic, by the way, you may use it, dhati, essential to its being, essential, not acquired, essential to its being, or not. Look at the DNA. Is the knowledge essential to its being? It means it is particles or not? That is very simple, but unfortunately, if we are not careful, lots of people say, oh, what the scientists claim seems to be correct, so evolution is correct. And the things are created in order is different from the things are developing by themselves, naturally, random happening, the results of random happenings, because I think Suhail may know better, because what the enzyme they call it, I don't know really, well, but I read somewhere, the enzyme, whatever it happens in the DNA or in the cell tries this way, and then this way, and then this way. When it finds the fitting way, then it states that. That is why it is they say, this creation is the survival of the fittest ones. That is why it improves itself. Now, that is created in this way. Can you show me the quality in whatever the thing that the cell has? I don't know anything about technical things. So whatever the thing is choosing, does he have the quality to decide that to choose by itself? And the quality in itself, essential to itself? If it is essential to itself, you have to show it to me. But what we say, what we conclude, no, they are given by an absolute being. Whoever created one particle must be the creator of the universe. They say, as a counter-argument, show me the qualities, the essence of in the essence of God, that you claim that he is all powerful. No, I am saying there must be a creator who must have these qualities. I am not saying, look, here, God is somewhere in the universe. You can investigate and see the absolute infinite qualities in it. There is no such claim. So I am saying this is my logical conclusion, which is confirmable by my feelings, and my human capacity says this logical conclusion is intelligent. It means I can understand it with my intelligence, with my reasoning, with my consciousness, with my questioning, with my reasoning. My feelings also say, yeah, there must be. Each feeling says, I must have such a creator. So this interconnectedness, or is there any word that they necessitate to each other, internecessitating things, or there must be a word for it. One's existence necessitates the other's existence necessitates the, let's say, A's existence necessitates the existence of B, B's existence necessitates the existence of A. Interdependent. Okay, since it is the word, let's use it. Mutually dependent, interdependence in the universe. The cell is in need of the particles also to appear in the certain position of the cell must exist so that they will be there in a particular place chosen by the one who created both of them. That is why I keep repeating this to myself and reminding myself, I hope it is not boring for you, then the whole universe is nothing but effects, no cause, because nothing has any quality to be the cause of anything. I am sorry. I know I spoke a lot. Sorry.
Thank you, Brother Ali, for those clarifications. Right. Any other comment? So the whole universe is an effect. It's a very powerful, actually, phrase. No causes. So, for example, we think that the water, seed, soil are all causes, but they're all effects. Very interesting to think about a little bit. Maybe we can ponder over that. What does that mean? So all the things, because we're used to living in the causal kind of scenarios. So whatever the causes we think are actually effects in that. Any thoughts by anyone? No comment?
I just think of like a concentric circle, sometimes one within the other. Like when he's pointing this out, in that, it's interesting. Or in mathematics, there's something called a fractal. Like the further deep you go down, you see the same pattern repeated over and over and over again. So there's no sort of end to that same pattern. It's imprinted on the macro and the micro, and like a cell, like I was mentioning earlier. you look at one aspect and then you could dig further down and further down, further down, and you realize that it's just comprised of one particular thing and another particular thing, and that's comprised of another particular thing and another particular thing. And they're all dependent on one another to actually make the whole. But at the same time, the further down you go, they still have that sort of same stamp appearance. So, within the whole, there's a point. And that point is the sort of the same thing as the whole in terms of it being an index of the whole, which is a bit strange when you think about it. It's interesting. How is that even possible? Like how can things themselves, how can a particular or point know something about the whole? It's a bit interesting. So how does the seed know something about the melon? It almost seems like magical in that sense, because you can't explain that from within the seed itself or the melon itself. So, yeah, so those were some of my thoughts.
Thank you, Sohail. Well, there's an example Maria has posted. Just as we see water coming out of a faucet, the water and faucet are mutually dependent on the same source. The things are mutually exclusive from each other in their existence, but mutually dependent. Right.
Yeah, good question, Sued. Thank you. How can a particle in the body of the cell know what is the best way to choose to survive? And how can a particle in the cell can know the whole body so that it will work within the harmony of the all billions of cells in the body? They will make a perfect whole. How can they communicate with each other? So it was the fundamental question, how a particle can know the whole. That's a very essential, very reasonable question. You show me the quality in it. It is excellent. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. How does the particle know the whole? That's a good question, actually. All right, I will move on to.
Feriha has another.
Oh, yeah. Faria says, how can one particle know the whole? It does not.
Before this.
Would anyone want to speak on that?
No, an example, just as we see water coming out, faucet, the water and faucet are mutually dependent on the same source. The things are mutually exclusive from each other in their existence, but mutually dependent. It cannot, and therefore, so how can one particle know the whole? It doesn't, but you read this. And the last one, I will continue. It cannot, and therefore we attribute everything to a single source, must so. Now, this single source must exist, and it must be so. Thank you. Good comment, excellent.
Alhamdulillah, thank you. All right, let's move to the ninth step. All right, and through the mystery of a Quran of dignity, inscribed with particles of ether on an atom or minutest particle, not being of less eloquence or wondrous art than a Quran of grandeur, written with the ink of the stars and suns on the page of the heavens. Similarly, through their relation to the power of the universe's creator, the blooming rose, not being of less eloquence and art than the star Venus, nor the ant being inferior to the elephant, nor the microbe inferior to the rhinoceros, nor the bee inferior to the date palm. Moreover, the extreme ease and speed in the creation of things causes the people of misguidance to confuse formation with self-formation, which necessitates innumerable impossibilities and is a delusion. While it proves to the people of guidance that in relation to the power of the universe's creator, particles and the stars are equal. May his glory be exalted, for there is no God but he. God is most great. So I wanted to explain the meaning of this last step at length, but regrettably I have been prevented by my extreme distress arising from arbitrary oppression and harassment and my weakness and serious sickness resulting from poisoning. I have therefore been compelled to suffice with a brief indication. With some notes from the author while he was writing this particular piece in terms of his explanation to this mystery of how the message is described on particles of ether on an atom, minutest particle, not being of any less eloquence in their creation versus the larger things, the stars and the blooming rose versus the star Venus. Their creation, they're the same, the ant or the elephant. Although the ant physically is small, elephant huge, in their creation, existence, the same. So let's see what the author shares. That is, if a Quran of mighty stature was written on a particle, which is supposed to be indivisible and called in the science of theology kalam, and in philosophy Johar-e-Fard, in particles of ether, which is matter even finer. And if another mighty Quran was written in stars and suns on the pages of the heavens, then the two were compared. The microscopic Quran written in particles would not be inferior in respect of marvels and miraculous art than the vast Quran gilding the face of the heavens. Indeed, in some ways, it would be superior. In exactly the same way, from the point of view of the originality and eloquence in their creation, in relation to the power of the universe's creator. The rose is not inferior to the star Venus. The ant is not inferior to the elephant. And a microbe is more wondrous as regards its creation than a rhinoceros. And with its marvelous inborn faculties, the bee is superior to the date palm. And with its marvelous inborn faculties, the bee is superior to the date palm. This means that the one who creates the bee can create all animals. The one who raises a single soul to life can raise to life all men at the resurrection of the dead and gather them together in the arena of the great gathering. And will gather them together. Nothing at all is difficult for him, for before our eyes every spring, he creates 100,000 samples of the resurrection with the greatest ease and speed. So I will pause here for these two paragraphs and see what we understand. If anybody has any comments, please go ahead. So his example started with, yeah, Brother Ali, go ahead.
I would say you go ahead first. I spoke a lot.
I'm trying to understand how, so his example starts with Quran of mighty stature probably means what the meaning behind it is written in the particles, and then the same Quran written would be the stars and suns. Another mighty Quran is written in, so anything that is written on the particle versus the whole bigger thing, when compared, the microscopic Quran would not be inferior to the art, marvels and miraculous art than the vast Quran. Yeah, Suhail, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I took away from this, in that the Quran of mighty stature, it being sort of what the Quran means, or the Quran sort of in manifest form. So you would see it both on the most fundamental particle. I guess what the theologians say as Johari Farad, or it's like the most essential particle or the most fundamental particle, indivisible particle. And if it were written also on the stars and the sun, the both what the most fine particle means would not be inferior to what the largest thing means, like the star or the sun. So like something within a cell, for example, let's say the DNA or the chromosomes would not be inferior with respect to the whole body in terms of what they each mean. In fact, he says the one that's smaller would be superior, because if you think about it, for it to be meaningful in the same way that the whole is meaningful is miraculous in that regard, that it can encompass the same meaning as the whole. So that is what is, fascinating, in that you can understand the same source, or it points to the same source with the same qualities, whether it's the micro or the macro. It doesn't matter.
but micro is more wonderful, as the text says.
Correct. Yeah.
Why? It is obvious, isn't it? I mean, we see in the word that outwardly what the universe seems to be as if scattered stars and galaxies, just these stars, and some of them may have some planets around them like the sun, but it is wonderful. Of course, no one can create that. None of the parts of the universe can claim that I am the creator of this universe. But the creation, the pieces of the creation becomes finer, smaller, and finer and finer and finer. They are created with the qualities which is much, much more wonderful than the creation of the stars. So writing the same qualities in the very minuscule creatures, very minuscule creatures, for example, how they were called?
Mosquito, fly,
Viruses, for example.
virus.
Viruses. If you investigate their qualities created with in themselves, so amazing, so amazing. They change themselves, adapt themselves. So very clever. They are created in such a perfect way that their existence demonstrates the infinite qualities of their creator, because they are acting within the universe. So one professor in Oxford University, which I wondered and watched, which I cannot really watch their tricky language, mixed with tricky language videos, but I did this one. There was a person who used to be a diver and scientist as well. And what was his name? It comes and goes, and said that in order to create a pie, you have to be able to create the universe. What was his?
In order to create, what did you say?
A pie. An apple. He said, because he gave the example of apple pie. So in order to create an apple, one has to be able to create the universe. And he's very famous. His videos under the sea or oceans are famous.
Carl Sagan?
Yes, Sagan. Yes, thank you very much. So, Carl. So, the man from Oxford University works in the CERN underground lab. They are studying what is in particles. So he must be a genius. Genius in studying how the things are happening, but absolutely stupid. I wouldn't mind my accusative language or insulting language, making sense of their existence. What he did, he wore, in the video, it is, you can search and find it. Apple, the creation of Apple, or what the Apple is, and this Oxford, they have series of videos which have millions of watchers, because they are scientists. Look at the stupidity. No, I cannot keep myself away from saying stupid. The word is not kind at all, but it is. He is absolutely stupid. He took an apple, of course, wore a white cloak or white whatever, this lab scientist dress. I don't know how they are called.
Lab coat,
Lab cloth. Okay.
coat, lab coat, white coat, lab coat.
Lab coat, did you say? Lab coat, yes. Thank you, sir. So, and put goggles or what they said, this lab eyeglass
Young goggles.
goggles, and put a device, made a device to make this demonstration because millions of people watch it and they become famous, and also they may make money out of it because this video pays them money. What if they get a loss of heat? I don't know what this YouTube does, but they are making money as well. So it is worth it. Made a special device, put in a lab tube an apple, and again, it looks like a scientific research. Look at how simple is it, and put a device underneath that heats the tube. Apple is in, but the tube doesn't break. It is, I think, a heat-resistant type of glass. Okay, and he heated for a time, and the apple turned into carbon. Right? What a clever way of explaining that. Look, he mentions the name Carl Sagan, saying that this man thinks that in order to create an apple, which is nothing but carbon, one has to create the universe, because apple is existing within the context of the universe. And he said it is just a meaningless, baseless claim because they don't know science really. Look at this logic. Burning it, you don't have to wear this lab coat and all this device. If you put apple on a pan and heat it, it turns into just carbon, becomes black carbon. But look at this. If you take our famous simple example, a picture, painting, and really heat it up, it becomes just paint. Deny this art on it. This art is the witness. Even the art of existence of carbon is a witness. But this stupid man, a so-called scientist, demonstrating that apple has no significance as an apple within the universe. Look at this logic. And millions of people watch it and continue watching this idiot's interpretations because he's a scientist. This is the disease of this age. Now, he must be fall into prostration, saying that how a carbon became a living apple with beauties, tastes, all the qualities that apple has. Some skins there, beautifully designed, and the meaty part and the heart of it, and the seed in it. In the seed, DNA exists. DNA is hundreds volumes of information included in it. Out of carbon, man, he must prostrate. He must prostrate before this creation. He denies that you don't have to create. Carbon develops by itself, as if pain develops by itself into an art, piece of art. I don't know. I always say this. I don't know how they believe in it, how they accept it. These really smart people, when they read their article, they research, they are very smart. When it comes to interpretation, they become really ignorant and obstinate and stupid than my mother, who didn't have any education at all, passed away, rahmahullah, and he burned something and he knows in the kitchen. He doesn't have to have a lab for it. Heard something, it became carbon. Carbon cannot be eaten, so throw it away and say, mashallah, out of this thing, when it burns, it becomes just something to be thrown away. Out of the thing, apple is made. Of course, that's my mother's language. Yeah, it's correct as well. Created, made, maybe misleading by human language, as if we're using some already existing materials and making a teapot, for example, already out of already existing shield. It was shield or something. Anyway, whatever, you know what I mean. So she was no shielded material, metal material, flat iron. But
shield or what?
Now, how do you call this iron that, for example, a teapot is made of?
Steel, iron?
Steel. Thank you, H. Beza, to try to help me. Thank you for your eyes. Well, yes, steel. So everybody, no one can say that steel turned to be into a teapot, even if billions of trillions of years of accidental random happenings. It needs a conscious design and choice. That's so obvious. But these people, because of this impression, like a devil, uses all these impressions that the people will be thinking that these people are experts. They know something. Look, science is speaking. The facts are speaking. This language, this vocabulary invented by them. So we should be very careful that belief is very easy. Denial is impossible. Not only difficult, impossible. How can you deny the qualities existing on the things, essentially, as this text says, Jawharu Fard, the very, 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 although he doesn't argue here Jawharu Fard as ether, but there is no such thing. There is no such thing, but it is an assumption. Ether. It's an assumption. There must be some essential parts, not particle, not the pieces of the particle, but imaginary assumed the last piece, the last smallest piece, where they are searching for in CERN lab, underground CERN lab. It's a huge 30-something kilometers long in order to accelerate the particles and let them hit each other, and they hit each other. They divided into endless pieces, and they are investigating the qualities of these pieces and putting a name and making a scientific research saying that, look, particle is made up of this, we found out. So full equation is working now. And yes, that's your mathematical equation. Does it explain the source of existence of this event? No. If I say this teapot made of steel and some things are plastic, handle is a kind of hard plastic, and the bottom is very thick. So this is what it is. How about the art of pot, the design, the purpose, knowing that the human beings will handle it, need to hold it, and it shouldn't be as hot as the steel is. So knows human needs, human qualities, and how he should know how big it is, beautiful design, attractive color. All this needs conscious choices. You cannot say that this is nothing but steel. You can find out if you want to laugh, to entertain how stupid the denial is. You can find out in something Cambridge. Or I see. I think Cambridge, maybe. I see YouTube channel. There you can say Carl Sagan, or you know how to search for it. Watch it. You can really feel disgusted how idiot they are. Thank you very much. Sorry, I shared my feelings. Sorry, oh, the time is really late. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your real feelings. Yeah. All right, so I guess we can stop here for today. We'll continue next time with the next paragraph about how formation confuses our minds that these scientists are presenting to us, inshallah. So I'll stop here. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma alamtana innaka antal alimul hakim wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bihurmati suratul Fatiha. Thank you everyone. Assalamu alaikum.